I'll call the meeting to order then, and we'll do the roll call. It's just myself and Barbara as regular members, and Diane as regular members, and Paul as an alternate. And we'll seat Paul in place of Laura. And I think we should do this more regularly. I don't typically, and it's my fault, say who the alternate is replacing. I should be more careful with that. So the first order of business is the minutes from September. So does anybody have any comments about that? Questions, corrections? Okay, and those members present were myself and Diane and
I'll
Paul.
make a motion to approve them as written.
Okay, Diane, thank you. Second. All seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's done. Any correspondence that we have? No.
Nope.
Any committee representative staff reports? I know you gave us some nice material here. And I don't think we need to go through those at the moment. But
I thought we could do that under discussions.
yeah, okay.
That's okay.
Yep. So that being said, the next item is the public hearing, the William Tully House certificate of appropriateness as to exterior features to build a pergola above the existing outdoor kitchen at 151 North Pole Road, map 32, lot 5. Owner applicant Michael Chapin. And Michael, if you want to go forward, I think that Paul, did you say you were going to recuse yourself?
Yeah, I think under our policy, we are supposed to disqualify ourselves in matters of adjacent properties. And I'm directly across the street, so
Okay.
I'd like to participate. I think I ought to disqualify myself.
Okay, so Diane, you and Barbara and I will be hearing this.
Okay.
Okay. So first, I'd like to apologize for not applying properly first.
Well, thank you. That's
Yeah.
that's a big step.
No, I apologize. I didn't realize it was something that your jurisdiction. So, but I do apologize. So I am, as you've seen, I have a post and beam structure above the kitchen of there the last 3 years, 3 or so years. It's 15 by 7 by approximately 8 feet tall. The post and beam, the only metal fasteners are actually on the base of it that are attached to the back of the stone wall. I stopped when Lynette came to my house. I stopped building, so we stopped the roof. But I'd like to put a cedar roof on top of it.
Oh, cedar shingle.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we see all the photographs here, and we appreciate your apologizing for not coming here first, but
Yep.
here you are, and.
So you didn't need to get a building permit or anything for this?
From what I understand, no. I have gone. I've talked to Chris Costas.
Uh-huh.
Let me talk to Chris.
Okay.
I have other work being done on my house right now. The interior that does have a building permit.
We noticed the
We
dumpster.
don't do interiors, but that's good that you
Yeah.
got your permit. Well, it's pretty straightforward,
Yeah.
and post and beam construction. Although this house, I guess, was originally built in 1750, it was mostly rebuilt about
Yeah.
what 10, 12 years ago.
Well, 7, I believe.
Yeah. So, but it's still a contributing house within the district, as far as I can tell. So Diane, you have any questions, comments?
No, my video went off, but I can hear everything. No, I think that it looks fine. I'm just wondering, what is that? What is the roof made out of? Or the piece over the top? Is that just wood?
That's all wood, and then on top of that would be cedar shingles, if we continue.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
The original plan was for an aluminum roof. But realizing that doesn't fit in, we've switched to cedar.
That's appreciated.
Yeah,
But
okay.
yeah, I don't think we would approve an aluminum roof,
Yeah.
actually. But
And just for the record, visibility is not only from the road, but from the water. as well. But what you're saying, I think, is the stuff that's not visible from the water or the road.
No,
Right. Okay, Barbara?
I don't have anything else.
All right, does somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the certificate of appropriateness as requested.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and any discussion?
No,
All right, we'll take a vote, all in favor?
I,
Aye. There's nobody opposed, so. So you're set.
okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in.
We're good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Take care, Mel.
Thanks. Good night.
Good night.
You too. Stay warm.
Okay.
I'm surprised the pastor didn't alert me that he said nothing happened.
I don't know how that works, but. Anyway, next agenda item is the 2023 meeting schedule. This is just the third Tuesday of each month going forward. Nothing magic to that. We can change it if
looks fine.
good on Tuesdays.
We're used to it.
Okay, all in favor?
Right. Did someone make a motion?
Do we have to make a motion?
Go ahead. Bill just.
I'll make a motion that we approve the schedule for 2023 as written.
Okay,
Oh, you want to second it?
Sure.
Get your name.
okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. The next thing is discussion about the plan of conservation and development. I'm not sure did we actually get a revised text or?
No, we didn't get that
I
yet.
didn't think so.
So there was some discussion about the certified local government status.
Yeah.
So I printed up some materials about what that entails, what the purpose of it is, for you to look over. And what I understand is a lot of it is protecting the resources that you have. So I think they're encouraging towns who are certified to pursue either state or national register protection for those properties that qualify.
Mhm.
And then I gave you a list of those properties that we have. There's another list in there of properties that might qualify. So that's something that this commission could look into doing, is trying to get more properties certified or on the state or national register.
Well, I think that was very helpful for you to give us this information. It sort of expands our jurisdiction beyond the district. Not our jurisdiction, but our advisory role, I think. And it was not well understood by me, and so I was glad to see this as well.
It also opens the town up for the opportunity for those grants that.
For grants, yeah, yeah.
So apply for those to do studies. And I guess a few studies were already done once the certified local government status was achieved. I think a few studies were done in the town. I think Christine Nelson probably spearheaded those, I would imagine.
Yeah, she did a lot of that initiative. Carl, do you have anything to say about that?
About the CLG,
Yeah.
I was gonna comment on that, actually. Um, I don't, when did we be, I know it was probably, yeah, 13. The way that happened is, I think Christine Nelson brought it up. And I had an intern from the high school. And I'm really bummed I don't remember his name. Andrew, and we've had interns here in the past, high school kids, through their internship program. This kid was so focused and driven. And we had him do the whole process and come to the Historic District Commission. Were you? No?
No, ex-wife was, but
And he subsequently went to Wake Forest, and I forget where he went to law school. He's a practicing lawyer now. He finished undergrad in 3 years, and I mean, he couldn't wait to start working. I'm like, enjoy college, you know? But I remember the whole process. I don't remember much about anything else about the substance of where we are and all this, but I'd like to hear what you're considering here in terms of,
Well, I think,
I don't think
But
we're
the process
considering
was-
anything except awareness.
okay,
Is that
okay.
fair?
I think the commission had mentioned they were interested in weighing in on some of the applications and if the properties had any historic significance, and that's how the subject came up.
Okay.
Why did we do this in the first place, and what does this allow us to do? So do you have jurisdiction beyond the North Cove Historic District and?
I don't think
That
it's
sort of thing.
jurisdiction, no. I think it's
Not for permitting, but just,
comment.
yes, might they refer something to you that was involved in historic property for your comments, something like that?
Right. And we haven't really done that before. We've always said, well, it's not in the district. We don't have anything to do with it. But this sort of suggests that we have a role since we are the appointed agency.
As an advisory role, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
that's
I think
totally-
But
it's
I don't
clear
think-
that we
I don't know
do have
that-
a role.
I don't know that planning or zoning has ever referred anything to us.
Since I've been here, I can't think of any historic properties that have really been impacted, but maybe there have been.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. And I don't know what you could really do,
What do you mean by impacted? I mean, I know there have been properties that have come
like
up for demolition.
something like that. I guess
Yeah.
is what I'm saying.
And right now we have no way to stop. Thank you. We don't have that. Also, I think we can't do enough education. It's been several years now that SHPO came and did a thing at the pavilion, a presentation that was very well attended about what homeowners could apply for and whatnot for help. You know, I just feel like there are a lot of historic homes and business buildings in town that people don't really realize they might be able to get some advantages by getting on a register. And they don't realize that getting on the register doesn't really hinder them in any way at all. But there's that belief, there's that,
Right. They don't
you
want to
know,
be told what
it's
color they can paint their
it's like,
house.
yeah, your mother told you you're sitting too close to the TV, you're gonna go blind. No truth to it.
People are very touchy about that.
Yeah.
I remember when we were talking about forming possibly a second historic district.
Yeah.
And I think in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Well, that does exist. That is an historic district,
No.
I thought.
But there's not any-
Green Something or other.
Well, there's no
There's no
HDC that governs,
regulations.
yeah, no
Right.
regulations, maybe.
Right.
Okay. Maybe it's a district, right?
It is a district, as far as I know,
Okay.
and homes in it are
uh,
on the registry.
Not the
Okay.
historic district, so within our district.
No, not within,
But I think we would have to have a formal referral from one of the other land use commissions to consider an application. I don't think we can just act on our own and say, well, we want to butt in here. But we're not on the list of referral agencies from zoning. Typically, as far as I know, typically, I don't think we've ever had a referral from zoning.
So I've never looked, probably should, at the statute that creates the Historic District Commission. And what can be the jurisdiction?
The statute does not,
Say much?
well,
It just-
it precedes this. So this CLG thing is not covered at all in the statute.
Yeah, the CLG thing strikes me as program, not regulatory.
Yeah.
And in our last meeting, Carl, just for your awareness, we did a fair amount of brainstorming about what role an advisory body that has this status, that's, sort of supposed to be a local agency promoting historic preservation, might have within town government. And just as an example, and I don't think we have any consensus, I personally would support it, is we might advocate for a demolition ordinance. Right?
Right.
Yeah, I'm not recommending it.
Right.
But that could be a role that's
Yeah.
consistent with
Yeah.
this. There's no authority, no rulemaking authority, but we could show up at the Board of Selectmen and say, we think for these reasons that an ordinance should be adopted to this effect.
You wouldn't be the first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. But I think that's the nature of it, as
right.
opposed to making determinations on anybody's actions.
Right, and then, or we could be a referral agency if zoning says, well, we have this historic building and we want to do X, Y, and Z. And the zoning has umpteen referrals, then we might be on that list.
And that would have to be in the zoning regulations for that to occur, right?
No, I don't, I think zoning can refer to whoever they want. I would agree.
It's similar to what the Architectural Review Board does, except it's not, they don't review historic properties specifically for review. I think
Right.
make recommendations about how things should look.
Right, but the agencies that have referral have jurisdiction, not referral, that have jurisdiction do frequently, universally refer it out to other agencies for input.
And you want to consider being on that list of referral agencies, and what would be the property, which properties would be referred?
It's up to.
So that's something
It's up
to,
to the zoning commission to decide whether they want to refer
Okay.
to us. But my point is they never have, to my knowledge.
and if a property were referred, if a property were, would this be for a renovation, or would this be for a demo, or either?
Whatever application comes in, if the
Right.
zoning commission decides that is
It, it
historical
even
property.
says in this article, it says, it even we should preserve and ensure the preservation even of special places in the town of Old Saybrook, if we're a certified local government. So like I'm thinking even of the smoke on the water, we were never on the list to say our 2 cents about what happened over there. Like, I guess they went to the recreation and went to
ARB.
all the other architectural review, right? So I think it makes sense that if it's a really special place and it has some significance in history, that we should be asked to, for, not that it would just be an opinion. The zoning is still going to make the final decision.
I think that's exactly right, Diane.
Yeah.
So you'd be basically going back to zoning. The HDC is going to issue a memo to zoning and say, hey, as a CLG.
Yeah.
You know, if there's a special building or place and there is work to be done, consider us.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, the Cancer Foundation, that was a historic building. And we could have been asked for our 2 cents on that one. I think that, Ted Levy jumped in and helped preserve it.
Mhm.
But, you know, that would have been something we might have wanted to say something about.
So two things. I think your workload will increase.
Our budget, yeah, I know.
Would you say budget? And you know, strictly from a clunky government point of view, how many referrals are going to be out there?
Probably very few.
I don't know. That would only be my other comment, whether, I mean, in practice, I suppose we'll find out if you decide to go forward with it, but you know, the property like Smoke on the Water or many other properties, you know, between architectural review, harbor management, it could be a wide variety and yeah, just saying, conservation, I don't know who else is weighing in on these things. Just a comment. That was just a comment.
But why else did this?
Yeah, no.
Why else were we appointed this?
Right.
And I would
Understood.
say historic properties in general need people who are interested in historic properties to speak up for them.
And we don't, yeah, I mean, and this board can do that.
Yeah.
I think this board can do that.
So my question would be, how do you pick and choose what properties you're going to weigh in on? Because I'd say the properties on the registers are no brainer, but there are lots and lots of other properties in town. It's an old town, with a lot of old structures. And how do you say, yes, we're going to talk about this one and no, we're not going to talk
So
about this
this
one?
is-
How do
I
you
think the
decide?
other- We don't decide. The zoning commission decides.
But they have to have some guidelines with
Mhm.
which to make that determination, I think, otherwise it might be considered unfair to some.
Right, arbitrary. It needs
So
to
we
not be arbitrary.
So you have to, I think, you could certainly start with registered properties.
Right.
But if you want to expand beyond that, I think it might be a good idea to come up with some criteria so that it doesn't seem
It's up to us to
arbitrary.
come up with the criteria. I think it's up to the other referring agencies.
Well, someone would have to, I think. I think someone should.
Sure. So if we're going to comment in some fashion, on what basis would we be commenting? But I think that's the
Yeah.
point of
And
that suggestion that we would have to.
I mean, every home
some
that comes
criteria.
in for a certificate of zoning compliance, not everyone, but a lot of them are old and
But
have
who decides?
some
who
value.
decides now what referrals are made?
Oh, well, residential things I don't think are referred out.
Just commercial.
So, well, Chris decides, but I'm sure she has guidelines that she uses to decide. which.
Right, that's what I'm thinking.
I'm not sure exactly what they are.
You know, she doesn't refer everything to every agency, I don't think.
No, but mostly they're commercial. So if you want to
But
stick with commercial properties, that would,
Yeah, I don't think that's what we want to do.
okay.
You know, some things go to Gateway, some things don't, and some things go to.
That's, yeah, that's
Lots of-
geographic.
When there's a laundry list of referrals that are made.
Based on
and
jurisdiction in a
decides.
lot of cases. Like wetlands is jurisdiction and gateway is jurisdiction.
Well, but even if they don't have jurisdiction, they're referred out for opinions. Comments.
I can talk to Chris about what she
Yeah,
thinks,
Yeah, okay.
see what she recommends.
But I
But
don't
you
think
would
it's
like-
up to us to butt in say, well, we saw something coming up, we need to hear that. Am I right?
I mean, so if Mike Pace Jr. in that historic house wants to do some work, how does that even, and change the appearance of the house? I don't know that there's any way for this commission necessarily to inject itself. And that example, I know we're being recorded. I don't mean to, but he's my neighbor. I look at the house every day and it's a beautiful house. Secondly, what's old?
Well, yeah.
This is what we struggled with when we talked about a demo delay
Yeah,
7 or 8 years ago.
I remember.
It was it 50 years from, or was it 60 years and then, let's do an inventory. We talked about doing an inventory. We hired someone to do an inventory and the inventory was incomplete at best, as I recall. So the criteria is difficult to define.
Right, and I just don't think it's we who need to make that decision. It's the zoning commission wants input from us. We're happy to exercise our job here.
I see your point, Bill, but there are two sides to it. One is, I think this is what you're saying. What are the criteria for when to make a referral? And that isn't our business.
Exactly.
I agree with you on that. But then if a referral is made, what's the criteria on which we comment?
That's a different question.
And I think that's what Lynette was, if I understood you, I thought that's what you were driving at.
Well, that too. Mostly I was trying to figure out how do you determine which get referred in first.
All right, so
Right.
you were. I just want to express that I have reluctance on the issue because I don't want us to seem as though we are a wrench in the works and yet another problem in the process for people. I'm open-minded. We'll think about it, but I just want to throw out a reservation.
Oh, I agree. I totally agree with that. But then again, when I see this stuff, which I didn't really understand previously, what else are we? What does this mean? What does CLD mean? If as Carl says, the statute on Historic District Commission limits us to this
Very
district,
specific.
period.
Yes.
This is brand new. I mean, it's 10 years old, but it's not within that statute. So what does it mean?
Carl, from your standpoint,
It's a very awkward title.
Yeah, it took me quite a while to figure out what we were talking about here. Is there something from your vantage point that you wish we were doing or could do if we evolved this thinking?
I'd have to think about it more because I haven't thought about it. I mean, literally, I didn't know this conversation was taking place tonight. So
Well, we would welcome whatever you have to say because
I'll have to look. Could you get me that CLJ?
Sure
Could
will.
you send that down to me?
I think Christine Nelson pretty much did it all and.
She shepherded it.
There
And all
was
of
a
sudden, okay,
reason.
you're appointed
Well, I think it was for grant.
It was,
for grant
Diane
purposes.
was involved
Yeah.
in it.
It was for grant.
It actually, I thought it came more from the Historical Society because they're the ones who really brought it up. I thought to you, Carl, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it
I
was
could remember.
mine.
I really can't.
And they wanted us to become, and really only historic districts became local governments. Like the Historical Society couldn't become one. And they wanted to get grant money. And that's how we got the money for the 2 surveys or 1 survey we did. And we worked with the Historical Society, but they're the ones who really initiated it. And I think that's how it got. You remember that, Carl? Was it you?
No, I don't remember.
It was
It was me that did all this, but I don't remember.
I got your signature right here.
I'm sure you do.
He got a CRS diagnosis.
I'm sorry.
So all of a sudden, I'm on the historical district commission and they said, you gotta go work with the historical society and do a survey now, which I didn't mind, but that's how it got going, I think.
Survey.
And we do have the survey, I'm gonna bring that into you, Lena. I keep forgetting. It's in my trunk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But I could understand what you're saying. It's hard to decide what you want us to comment on. I mean, I would think like, I think there's some of the real old houses that aren't in the district that might come up and they either want to do a addition on them, like the cancer, that comes to mind, foundation. Ted Levy was really afraid they were going to knock down the historical part. So he did what probably we should have done as the certified local government. And he went to the owners and he talked to them and they decided to make it part of their structure and to fix it up and keep it. I mean, we have no power. We just can make suggestions,
Are there any municipal owned properties that are historic that need attention? Is the grant money
Question.
part of this?
Oh, is the youth family services program?
On the historic register?
Well, not on the, I don't think it's on the register.
Oh, just a historic property?
Well, what about this building? What about
Probably.
the gate?
Yeah. Did I print out a list of all the properties?
Yeah,
Thought I did, but now I can't put my fingers on it.
you did. Old Saybrook Town Hall and Theater. What are we asking about? The,
Municipally,
what is that, what's that property called? The youth family services?
I forget what that is.
What's it?
I forget what the name is.
Kirtland?
Yeah, Kurt, that's it. Yes, Kirtland. Yeah.
So I had a thought, what about maybe, if it doesn't already exist, doing some kind of brochure guide to the historic register properties in Old Saybrook? Here there. Is there such a thing already? And that would raise awareness. Maybe some kind of a walking or driving tour, although some of these are private homes. I don't know if people want someone
Yeah.
standing outside their house with,
Cameras.
yeah. So
well, the Historical Society is currently embarking on a new walking guide. to
is that
historic
the
properties.
Main Street tour? There's a Main Street. Well, that was one idea.
Possibly.
Another thing I was thinking is, what about a strategy for properties that might be threatened with demolition? I mean, you can have a demo delay, but then what? Like, what's your solution to the demo?
And that was the issue, is you can delay something for 90 days. And it's a $500,000 property or higher, it's gonna get
What are
demoed.
you gonna do?
I mean, and
But are there strategies for,
But I don't think
Fundraising.
that's our job. I just think our job is, somebody asks us our opinion, we can give it. May not go anywhere. I mean, we may say, well, we don't think you should tear down the XYZ house.
I interpret it differently. I think it's intended to have us promote a culture of appreciation for historic preservation. And so I like your idea. I mean, if the historic society's already doing it, it doesn't need to be done, but I think that's a good idea. What about in some periodical? We've got these nice things that circulate, weekly papers and monthly little magazines. What But if somebody did a, feature on a periodic basis of some.
Saybrook events.
Yep,
Get writing.
quarterly events. I have
You
to
missed
write
it.
it.
You missed the deadline.
Who's a
It's
good writer? I know it was today.
tomorrow.
Oh, it's tomorrow?
Saybrook events quarterly.
Oh, there are
The winter
hours.
version.
Got a few hours.
You know,
Yeah, that's a great idea. And it's events, but maybe there could be an event tied to it. I mean, it doesn't have to be an event, but it could be, hey, spring is coming, maybe, I don't know. Something.
So the other thing I offer up in terms of, along what you're thinking, in terms of promoting awareness, I could write something, or I can write something in concert with you. The Harbor News will give me a space every 2 weeks if I want it. I've just been a little lazy about that. Instead, I write these tomes for Saybrook events. But,
Which we
but the Harbor
are
News.
wrapped
They're excellent.
to read.
I like them very much.
Yeah.
But if the Harbor News, if we want to write, a 500 word piece on CLG, we could do that. And talk about it a little bit. And it could be a 3-part series. It can be, I mean, if there's material. So I'm happy to partake in that.
Okay.
I just think it takes us out of the district, which has been what we've been confined to since 1985.
It does,
And I don't know quite how far or how to do it.
but there's that. I mean, this is the CLG
Yeah.
board, so.
I mean, our mission is beyond the district. Our
Well, now it
mission
is.
is the historic
So-
properties and landmarks.
Because
That's
of
why,
this.
that's why we went ahead and worked on the Gold Sign. That's
Yeah.
not within the North Cove district.
Right, I know.
Are you working with the Historical Society on updating that brochure?
I am not.
They're doing it on their own.
Yeah, but I mean, I know people.
No, I'm just wondering. And I'm wondering if they're doing it as an app where you go to the property. and
I think
it
that's
tells
the
you.
goal, is to have a QR code. But that's where to.
So they do what
I can
they
find
do.
out more.
You do what you do.
She knows somebody. That's somebody.
Yes, I know.
Oh, he doesn't, he knows nothing. Other people.
So it sounds like what you want to do may overlap a little bit, maybe, with what they do.
Well, often it does,
So maybe you could partner on something,
right?
combine resources to do something big, maybe. Do you have any
Yeah,
ideas?
no, I mean, I think we and they are all about promoting the historical significance and attributes of this town. The thing, Ted Levy, we were talking about years ago, he was trying to get this separate group going. And we were gonna start with trying to get little plaques on the buildings on Main Street with the year, like you see in various towns around, and just, little bits of stuff that
Mhm.
visitors who are walking down our Main Street from who knows where, oh, wow, this building is from 1864. Just little things like that, that just, people, I hear over and over again how visitors love Old Saybrook because of the history.
So promotion.
I hear they love Old
education.
Saybrook, and that is a big piece of it.
It
certainly
is, no,
is.
they say that is one of the reasons, because of the history
100%.
that's here.
This can be just noted as a general discussion about this.
Yeah, sure.
Take copious notes.
I am. This is my first note, so I want to make sure I have that.
Yeah, okay.
Here's someone talking. I want
Um,
to make sure I have noted.
And then that's my 2 cents.
Well,
can
anyway,
find
there's
out more
only
about
3
what
of
they
us here, so maybe we continue this
And
discussion.
we can bat it around internally
Yeah.
too. and see.
Yeah.
And I'll find out more about
More
what
of
their
us, yeah.
project is and when they expect it to be
Yeah.
something that's.
Well, if you have any questions, reach out to me after this about any of this big materials that I sent you.
Okay.
I appreciate this, you're setting. I
Yeah,
hadn't
sure.
seen it.
Right.
But yes, getting more properties listed on the register is something we definitely do, and that's, we have directions on how to do it, so list of properties that might qualify, so that's something that could be done.
Right. That was supposed to come out of that survey that we did with the Historical Society. He was supposed to tell us were there other houses. I think it might even be on some of the survey sheets of,
Okay.
Which houses he said, and there weren't very many.
I think I gave you a list in your packet.
Yes, I saw that. And the other project we did as a certified local government was the signs. When I worked with Ted and all the educational signs,
Right.
going up and down Main Street. That was education. There's lots of projects. Also, some certified local governments started preservation funds. I know Laura Gray would jump all over this, but they raised money so that when a house is in danger of being demolished, you can see if someone would be willing to move it. And of course, you need funds right away to do this. And the certified local government has done that. So there's lots of different projects that we could do.
You have to find the property to move it to, so that
Yeah, that's
need to be identified first.
a Pandora's box.
Lots of ideas.
Right.
So I'll talk to Chris.
Okay, so let's continue this discussion until the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh, if we're done with this, we can have a motion to adjourn. So moved.
I'll second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Sure. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.